to this historic unveiling of the State of California LGBTQ Veterans Memorial. The United States was built on the backs of a lot of people. Andy, my wife, and I spent 20 years in the Air Force, and we worked with a whole host of everybody. And one of the things that we do know is that the LGBTQ community has always been involved in the U.S. military ever since we started Civil War and before. We're not always recognized, and that's why we're here today. So we want to recognize the fact that we've always been part of the team, and so we are going to unveil this state memorial.
This is a very historic day, long time coming, and we're very grateful that you're here. We have 3 co-sponsors of our event today. We have AMVETS Post 66 in Palm Springs, Veterans for Peace, and the Alexander Hamilton Post 448 with the American Legion came all the way from San Francisco. We led the effort to dedicate this memorial in 2001. At that time, it was the America's first LGBT Veterans Memorial in the country. And we're very proud of that. It was here in Cathedral City. And then I persevered for 15 years to try to get this to become a state memorial. In 2004, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger vetoed legislation that would have made this a state memorial. We're very grateful to Governor Terry Brown approved this last August. This memorial is in Cathedral City. It's not at the state capitol where the other state memorials are. And that's because the Coachella Valley is paradise for LGBTQ veterans. So we feel this is the rightful home where it belongs. This memorial has become a holy place. You know, if you think about it, if you're in battle and you die instantly, you don't have a chance to confess your sins or have the last rites by a priest. And so this place has become a place of prayer for people to pray for our war dead. And also the same-sex lovers of some of our LGBTQ war dead, because of discrimination in the military, they were prevented from participating in the military funeral of their loved one. So this memorial has become a place of closure. But finally, in 2019, California is the first state to have a memorial for LGBTQ. We will not forget them, our fallen LGBTQ war dead. Thank you.
Flanders Fields. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
The next thing I'd like to do is bring up Kathleen JROTC. Kathleen is the district manager of this Palm Springs Cemetery District, and has been an incredible help to us to get the memorial put together, and then to put this whole event together. Most of everything you see is stuff that she helped us do. So on behalf of AMVETS and the memorial, the team that is presenting this memorial, we'd like to give you these roses. Thank you for all your help.
Thank you to the Board of Trustees for the Palm Springs Cemetery District. This is
Mark Carnival, Mayor of Cathedral City, is going to say a few words.
As Mayor of Cathedral City, it's my honor to share this landmark historical day, and this would not have been possible without the steadfast efforts of legislation AB 2439, authorized by our very own Assembly Member Edward Garcia. Thank you. Big round of applause. Some people may ask, why would there be a memorial dedicated to LGBTQ military personnel? Why not one memorial for all soldiers? The answer is very, very simple. The LGBTQ soldiers defended our nation, our Constitution, and the American way, at the time when our nation, our Constitution military did not defend them. Their importance or contribution to America, their dedication, military service deserves to be enshrined and remembered. The Williams Institute in May 2010 estimated that 48,500 lesbian, gay, and bisexual Americans were currently serving in the military, and an additional 22,000 were in standby or retired services. So it is my pleasure to present a proclamation on behalf of Cathedral City to officially record in our city history this landmark memorial that shall proudly proclaim the contributions of the LGBTQ community, both triumphs and sacrifices in making our nation the greatest nation in the world.
Next on the agenda is Palm Springs Mayor Robert Moon.
Well, it's an honor to be here today, and a special thanks to Tom Swann Hernandez, whose indefatigables energy made this happen. Without you, Tom, this would never have happened, so thank you. Gay service members have been in the Navy since probably the Revolutionary War. Unfortunately, until not too many years ago, they couldn't really be recognized or say who they were. They had to serve in silence. Gay sailors, soldiers, Air Force people who served their country, their families back home, when they died, their partners, of course they weren't husbands or wives in those days, were left alone with no support. And I think, so this memorial is for them too. So Tom, it's about time, and thank you very much.
You may have heard a rumor that I really wanted a letter from the governor.
We have it right here, Tom.
And I know it. I know it. But you may have heard that rumor that I really wanted a letter from Governor Newsom. Because Governor Newsom gave me a medal in 1999 in San Francisco at the American Legion Post up there. We're so grateful that the American Legion Post is co-sponsor of this event today. I've been Mario Benfield since 1995. He's a past commander. And I also want to point out that I apologize to the governor because the CDB secretary told me next time I need a letter to go through him because he's in the governor's cabinet. And I should have realized that. I should have known that. There was a lot to do for this event, a lot of work for a long time, and I get kind of worn out, and I should have gone through him, and I can't think of everything. And I didn't think of that. I apologize to our governor. I'd like to introduce Mario Benfield, past commander of Post 448 in San Francisco, to read the letter from the governor.
Thank you very much, Tom. From the Office of the Governor, April 27th, 2019, to the California Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, and Transgender Veterans Memorial. It is a great honor to recognize the dedication of Desert Memorial Park's LGBTQ Veterans Memorial as the state's official memorial for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning veterans. A momentous first for California and the nation. Our state and nation are forever indebted to the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender questioning service members who, despite their accomplished contributions and courageous services, were shamefully forced to serve and die in silence. Erected in 2001, the Desert Memorial Park Memorial will now be formally dedicated as the California Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender Questioning Veterans Memorial, in long overdue tribute to the courage, resilience, and sacrifices of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender questioning veterans. At a time when transgender individuals face new federal restrictions on their service, the memorial also reaffirms California's commitment to leading the nation in the ongoing fight for equality and in serving every veteran. On behalf of the state of California, I welcome all those gathered here in Cathedral City today to mark the important milestone, this important milestone. And I commend Assembly Member Eduardo Garcia for leading this historic effort. Sincerely, Gavin Newsom, Governor of the state of California.
Now, I've known Representative Mark Takano for 21 years, and he's the first gay Asian American elected to Congress. He was elected in 2012. Representative Mark Takano.
Well, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank you for having me here today and for such an important dedication. I want to especially thank AMVETS Post 66, the American Legion, Veterans for Peace, and all the folks, all the VSOs that had a hand in making this work, making this memorial happen. It's truly an honor to be here to officially designate America's first LGBTQ Veterans Memorial. And I'm so proud that California is leading the nation on memorializing LGBTQ veterans. Now that California is the first state to have a state memorial honoring our LGBTQ war dead, we can begin to learn the histories they left behind and honor their legacy. And with this first state memorial, on behalf of LGBTQ veterans, we can work together to ensure all of our veterans are not forgotten. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for your advocacy. Thank you all for your service. God bless all of you, and God bless the United States of America.
Okay, at this time, we are going to unveil 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! On the very front of the memorial, there is a brand new plaque, so for those in the audience, when you leave, please walk by. It has the new California LGBTQ Veterans Memorial Plaque dedicated April 27th, 2019, 2019. Thank you very much. Dr. Vito Imbasciani, 27 years in the Army, retired as a colonel, was in Desert Storm, is the 16th Secretary of the Department of Veteran Affairs in California. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Good morning to you on this very sunny and momentous day that we're going to formally dedicate California's LGBTQ Veterans Memorial here in Cathedral City. This memorial is deeply personal to me as a veteran, as a member of the LGBT community, and as a military physician who served 27 years, 26 of them, under Don't Ask, Don't Tell. This memorial was constructed 17 years before Assemblymember Eduardo Garcia of Coachella navigated AB 2439 through the legislature. Governor Jerry Brown signed it into law last fall, making this the state's official LGBTQ Veterans Memorial. 7 years and still in planning, a national LGBTQ memorial planned for Washington, D.C. remains only a dream still because the organizers have been unable to date to raise the necessary monies to make it a reality. Our fight continues because while some of us in the LGBT community can serve, still transgendered individuals cannot. The current administration is posing challenges to this by imposing restrictions that would make it impossible for many to continue their service. California will continue to lead the nation in the fight for equal rights and for serving every veteran. And that is why, in conclusion, this small but mighty stone obelisk that we just unveiled over there is so important to our place in history and in our society today. It stands tall even as others try to knock us down. It is built to outlast discrimination against the LGBT community. It is designed to demand inclusiveness. It stands to honor those among us who served and died for our country. And as such, it stands for all of us. Thank you.
In 2001, when we tried to first dedicate this memorial, the Veterans of Foreign Wars said that gay veteran was an oxymoron. And Daryl James, a World War II veteran, responded very boldly and very courageously by saying that his high school friend, buddy, Frank Molden, was gay and he died in the Philippines in World War II. And he was not an oxymoron. He was a real human being with blood and a brain and a heart. He loved our country and he died for our country. And Daryl designed the plaque for the memorial. Thank you, Daryl.
Finally, I am able to publicly pay homage to your courage on the battlefield. You and thousands of gay servicemen and women who died protecting our precious freedom are long-lasting, receiving overdue recognition with the rededication of this beautiful memorial monument.
In 2004, when we first tried this legislation, Assembly Member Christine Keogh, who eventually became a state senator, all the Republicans voted against the bill in the Assembly and the Senate. but it passed because the Democrats had a majority. And then Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger vetoed it. It was 2004. This time, we didn't know how the Republicans would react to this legislation. We wrote, our AMVETS Post wrote to Chad Mays and asked him if he would be a supporter, co-sponsor. And he was a leader in the Assembly Republican caucus. And very prominent, very well liked, very respected and admired. And he decided to co-sponsor this legislation. Because of his courage and his leadership, all Republicans in the Assembly and the Senate voted in favor of this legislation to pass unanimously. And that's very rare in politics today, for a bill to pass unanimously.
I also want to thank everyone who worked to bring this memorial before us today. It is something that our entire valley can be proud of. This dedication ceremony gives us a time to honor and memorialize those who faithfully served our country in times of war and peace. Every veteran made sacrifices to preserve liberty in America. They faced dangerous situations in order to protect Americans from harm, and we owe them an immeasurable debt of gratitude. The reason this is important today is, like we didn't recognize those Vietnam vets when they came back. In fact, we spat on them. We told them they were baby killers. We haven't been that much nicer to those veterans who served, who are gay or lesbian. Today is a day that we recognize the LGBTQ veterans, and that monument that's over there today says one message. If you loved our country so much that you'd be willing to give your life for it, we love you too.
I first met Eduardo Garcia when he was the mayor of Coachella, and we wanted to stop the Iraq War, Veterans for Peace, and he sponsored the City Council resolution, and it passed. And then we wanted to stop the Citizens United Supreme Court case. We went to him again, and the City Council passed it. And he's come to many Veterans for Peace meetings. We presented him with the Elected Official of the Year Award. We presented him with the Peace Day Award. And so we had this idea for this memorial. I said, we have the best assemblyman we've ever had. Let's ask Eduardo Garcia to introduce this legislation. So we wrote to him. He gave an immediate response. He would do it. He's very handsome, and I wish he was gay, but he's not. But he still loves gays. And he introduced this legislation, and that's wonderful. We love him for it. So he's a hero. Please welcome Eduardo Garcia.
I thought Tom was blind. Some may say he is, right? That's the second time he introduces us that way. We're actually starting to like it. Thank you, Tom, and thank you to all of our speakers. I have been truly touched by the stories that you've shared, and I think it defines why we're here and why this memorial, because there are still people out there that ask, well, why recognize veterans from the LGBT community, and why not just make it a veteran memorial for all? And I think you've all heard today directly from our veterans all the way to World War II, to our secretary, to our mayor from Palm Springs, and I'm sure many others who have stories that can tell you why. And I would sum up, I think, what this means to me by sharing just a couple of words. And one is, I think it's a long overdue recognition, and I think we've heard that several times by a number of our speakers. I think it's a way for us to make a wrong right in our nation's history. And I also think that it's an opportunity for us to recommit and reaffirm what we must do to ensure that our veterans are taken care of. The services that they've earned and the protection that they deserve. And so for me, I didn't realize when I accepted to carry this piece of legislation, thanks to Tom's persistence and long emails, that this would come together this way, and that it would mean so much to so many people. Credit goes to Tom for his persistence and his dedication to the cause and to this community. We also must recognize the leadership of the board of the cemetery. So thank you for board members then and those who are here now who carry the mantle for that bold leadership. Because again, 2002 was a very different time as it relates to the commitment that you made then. For us to, 17 years later, introduce a piece of legislation, again, long overdue. A wrong being made right, and a reaffirmation and confirmation of the work that we must continue to do on behalf of our veterans. And that's why, this year we introduced legislation to ensure that our VSOs, or Veteran Service Offices, have the resources that they need in order to continue to provide the care for our veterans. They are what I refer to as our central command centers when it comes to directing our veterans to the resources that they need to be well.
First, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to each and every person who has worn the uniform of our nation. Today, it is very fitting that we are able to commemorate those individuals who are LGBTQ who have worn our country's uniform. But our work is not yet finished today. For any individual in their youth who shares my personal history, who would walk into a recruiting station on Monday and ask to enlist and wear their country's uniform, they would be turned down. So we still have work to do, but we thank and we recognize everyone who has gone before us, and our patriotism is not defined by our gender. It is not defined by our sexual orientation. Our patriotism is defined by our devotion to our country and our devotion to our fellow citizens. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to have the presentation of the memorial wreaths. We have representatives that are going to move these beautiful wreaths over to the memorial. So first is VFP. Right behind that, American Legion Post 448, Mario. AMVETS Post 66. State Assembly Member Eduardo Garcia. Mayor Mark Carnival and Mark Takano. And then Palm Springs Mayor Robert Moon. And then Congressman Ruiz is going to take the last one. Miss me, but let me go when I come to the end of the road. And the sun has set for me, and I want no rights in a gloom-filled room. Miss me, but let me go.
And now for the release of the Peace Doves. The Desert Winds Freedom Band will perform some background music. Frank Moulton, AMVETS, gay Army soldier, died in World War II. Lyons Wakeman, AMVETS, the first known transgender soldier to be killed in battle and buried with military honors. Lyons died during the Civil War. Chuck Schoen, AMVETS, Gay Navy Chief Petty Officer from Desert Hot Springs. Mel Tips, AMVETS, Gay Navy and Army Korean War veteran from Desert Hot Springs. Offie Leifer, AMVETS, Gay Army Lieutenant, died in the Korean War. Gil Ike, AMVETS. President Gerald R. Ford, AMVETS. Dr. Frank Kaminga, AMVETS, Gay World War II Army veteran. Bud Robbins, Gay World War II veteran. Leonard Matlovich, Post 448, Gay Air Force Tech Sergeant, and the first person to come out in 1975.
Arch Wilson, Post 448, Gay World War II. John Lawrence, Post 448, Gay Army Lieutenant Colonel and lover of Alexander Hamilton, who died in the Revolutionary War. Johnny Phelps. Johnny was a lesbian secretary to General Eisenhower in World War II. Harvey Milk, Post 448, gay veteran of the Korean War. He was a Navy lieutenant, junior grade, San Francisco County supervisor. Alan Schindler, VFP, gay Navy sailor murdered for being gay in 1992. Andrew Charles Wilfar, gay Army soldier aged 31, believed to be the first gay U.S. soldier to die in battle since President Obama signed the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the policy forcing gays to hide their lives and risk being kicked out. He died in the Afghanistan War. Frank Pettis, VFP, Cathedral City Mayor. Patricia Nell Warren, VFP, lesbian author. Carolyn Krause, VFP board member. Cesar Chavez, VFP, World War II Navy veteran. Cal Willis, gay Army, World War II. Friend of ours, George Zander, VFP, gay political leader. Bill Probst, VFP, member of Vietnam War. Morris Kite, whose picture's up front, gay rights liberator. Casey Sheehan, VFP, Army soldier, killed in Iraq War. John Castro, VFP, Army soldier, killed in the Iraq War.
Now, will you join me in prayer? Loving, kind, and gentle Spirit God, we come to you today to honor those of us who served and gave their all. God, we ask that you open our hearts and our minds to hear all of the voices, not just a few. You love us, you created us, and we serve you proudly and honorably. Amen.
And we're so grateful all the speakers that traveled a long ways to be with us, and we're so glad you're here. Thank you. God bless America.